Yeah, so across the board, Bud Light is not doing too well. And here's the thing, the news continues to show us that it's not just the money. Because for a large corporation, yeah, these type of losses are absolutely terrible, but they can what they call weather the storm. Usually these companies have redundancies and backups that they can, fritter away. Basically just like, okay, well, let's fire a couple people, let's do this, let's go into the reserve. They can weather these sorts of storms. But there's something that they can't weather, and there's also something they can't buy. And that is being able to buy the brand recognition that you see a lot of times with these country stars. And you have celebrities now that are saying, "No, we're not going to promote you. We're going to show our audience of young impressionable people why your brand is no longer cool, why it's no longer relevant." And to sort of emphasize that point, we have a bunch of disgusting, corrupt, out of touch Democrats holding a bunch of Bud Lights for a photo op. I can think of no worse image if I'm a Bud Light executive. If I'm an executive for Anheuser Busch, I'm looking at this going, oh my God. Oh my God. You've got a bunch of elitist, snobbish, out of touch douchebags. Do you really think that the everyman, the working man, is going to look at some piece of shit, some lying, dishonest politician from Washington, D.C., this scab right here, and be like, well, he's drinking a Bud Light, so I think I'm going to drink a Bud Light? No, he'd be like, oh my God, that politician is drinking the same beer as me. I better go get something else. Hey, Jeb, you got any Miller? It's really that simple. They're not going to start drinking this because first of all, these people don't drink beer. Let me make that perfectly clear. These are not the type of people who knock back a cold one after a hard day. These are the cocaine and hookers and a lot stronger stuff than what Bud Light is offering. This is a photo op and it's a terrible one. So here it says Bud Light sales will further dive when folks see professional liars Ted Lieu and Adam Schiff. Is that Adam Schiff? Jesus. Drinking the swill. I cannot think of a worse photo op. Holy shit. This is their Elizabeth Warren moment. I cannot think of a worse photo op. Having these elites drinking your product. Do you understand that the everyman hates these people? They look at them like, hey, they ain't doing nothing for me. They're not helping me. I got 2 more payments on my car. They ain't doing shit for me. They're gonna drink my fucking beer. Trying to turn it gay. Yeah, no one's gonna drink this. Oh God, what happened? What the fuck? What the hell? God, God, Twitter, stop that. What the fuck? I don't know. I didn't click anything. Ah, ah, oh, my eyes. Peg, I think I've gone blind. What? It came out of nowhere. Ah, oh, oh God. I think my eyes went blind to protect my heart. James O'Keefe, just now at the Four Seasons. James O'Keefe questions Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney. All right,
You think about the women who are being raped. I'm James O'Keefe with OMG News
I want to see
outside the
this.
Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. Dylan Mulvaney is inside the women's restroom right now, so I'm going to ask him for comment about our story regarding women being raped in prison by men claiming to be
Whew.
transgender. Here we go. Dylan, this is James O'Keefe, OMG. Women are being raped in a prison in Washington State by men claiming to be transgender. There's footage of them talking about the rape. Do you have a comment on the story here of the women being raped by the men claiming to be transgender? James O'Keefe, OMG News. What do you think about the women who are being raped by the men who are transgender? Do you have a comment about that?
Please don't come in the elevator with me.
What do you think about, what is your comment to the women who are being raped by men claiming to be transgender, Dylan? So we're here with Dylan here. Haven't had much Bud Light recently, but we're very interested in the women's prison. Dylan? Okay. She did go into she went into the women's restroom.
What the hell are you doing? This is a women's bathroom.
Trying to show them the footage.
We have been rapists who get put in our room.
No comment here at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills? All right.
The Four Seasons. And Bud Light thought that was going to appeal to their clientele. Holy shit. Bud Light sales down 70%, loses almost $6 billion. Goddamn. Where's the the sales have fallen off a steep cliff. We see this is happening across the board. What the hell happened? I know that there was a God, Elon, you gotta fix this. I didn't click anything and it automatically updated. Come on, man. Tranny fluid. No, it wasn't this. We're almost there, I think. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, anecdotally, this sort of stuff you see all the time. People are posting these videos and these images. And I think it's rather interesting that the cultural conversation has changed.
A penis, dressing up as a woman, their beer to endorse. Not just Bud Light, by the way. It's also Nike. And I asked you guys this question last night. I said, which one is worse? Nike putting a guy with legit cock and balls in women's leggings and also a sports bra and trying to convince women that they should buy Nike apparel, or Bud Light putting this trans person on the beer can and encouraging people to go drink Bud Light. And I think it's Nike. And I said that. My wife is super fired up about this because they put a man without boobs inside of a sports bra and tried to argue that women should buy that product instead. And Haley Caranilla, one of our funny Outkick employees, has been tweeting for multiple days now asking Nike to give her a jockstrap endorsement because she does not have a penis, but she will.
Okay, that's pretty funny. This is what I was referring to.
5% up at Coors and Miller Lite, up 20%. So people still drinking light beer, just not as much Bud Light. That has led
That's
the company
pretty
to put
significant.
out what
That's
can only be
huge.
described, I think, as a very patriotic ad, and they even brought out the Clydesdales. Take a listen.
Yeah. So, they're going to show the ad. But my point is, you've got Miller Lite that's up 20%. Coors Light that's up 5.5%. You've got Bud Light is down nearly 11%. That is huge and significant. And it's not just the numbers, though. I think this is important to highlight. But what we'll get to with Tim's video, and what I showed you at the beginning, is that country stars are now crushing Bud Light cans. Kid Rock shot up a bunch of Bud Light cans. The reputation for Bud Light is absolutely gone. So when you have that dumb bimbo that they made the VP of marketing or the VP of whatever, when she gets out there and says, we need to do away with the old image, well, congratulations, sweetheart, you actually did it. But unfortunately, you were so fucking stupid that you alienated your core audience thinking, oh, our brand is down. Your brand wasn't down. Your brand wasn't down. You were actually in a pretty good position. You talked yourself into this because you wanted it to be all about you. And sweetheart, I gotta tell you, your big mouth fucked it up. Because your mouth may be big, but your brain is extremely small. And this just reinforces why I don't believe that women should be in leadership positions. Because things like this happen all the time. Kathleen Kennedy had the recipe for great Star Wars and to make millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and to cement her name as one of the greatest creators under Disney of all time. Instead, she wanted to make it all about her, which thus led to Rey, which is one of the most despised characters in all of Star Wars, and has single-handedly ruined, well, I shouldn't say single-handedly, mostly single-handedly ruined, in combination with Kathleen Kennedy, terrible writing, terrible casting choices, terrible staffing choices. I mean, pretty much across the board, it is absolutely abysmal. But let's take a look at Tim.
Country music star Brantley Gilbert gets tossed a Bud Light during concert and smashes it following the beer company's Dylan Mulvaney saga. Oh,
Yep.
boy, it just won't go away.
Nope.
This morning, I was scrolling through Twitter, and something funny happened. I got an advertisement for Budweiser.
Ooh.
Now, the leftist media, the corporate press, they're trying to say over and over again that the boycott isn't working, it won't work, it's pointless, and everyone should just give up. They're claiming that all of these negative things that are happening aren't actually negative. And they're claiming also that white men just don't drink beer anymore, and so Budweiser has no choice but try and find new customers. Now, how can all of these narratives be true? They can't. What I find absolutely hilarious here is that they're simultaneously claiming that white men just don't drink beer anymore, and also Budweiser's stock is never better. So which is it? Is the company dying, or is their stock skyrocketing? The reality is Budweiser was doing just fine. Their stock was doing really, really well. And then they spat in the face of their core demographic, their core audience. Now, a lot of us have deep concerns over the individual involved at the start of this boycott, Dylan Mulvaney, and the media is lying about why people are really upset. Now, they're upset for a variety of reasons, but the main narrative they want to go for is just because Dylan Mulvaney is trans. That's it. That's weird. There's no big Jack Daniels boycott. I mean, some people floated the idea saying, hey, well, you know, Jack Daniels sponsored RuPaul's Drag Race or something like that. And everyone went, no, we don't really care. Seriously. There's no conservative outrage for the most part about Jack Daniels. Or how about Yingling?
I don't agree with this. I think that it's just priorities. This is the bigger fight right now. And people aren't going to start getting distracted. They're focused on Bud Light because the hope is. So, Tim, let me explain this to you in chess terms. I like to play chess. So there are times where somebody will make a move, and you look at that move and you go, okay, that was a blunder. I could take their piece that they've blundered. However, I could also move my piece somewhere else to set it for a checkmate or a trap down the road. I have a plan. I'm going to stick to it. Even if I see a rogue pawn, or you move your knight and I go, oh, I can take it with my bishop, and you can't take it back. There are certain times where you sacrifice a potential move that would put you up points, but you see the bigger play down the road. I think Bud Light is the bigger play. I think that if you put the hurt on Bud Light and Anheuser Busch, and you do it to such a degree that you send a shockwave across all of these corporations, guess what? A lot of these companies, like Jack Daniels, they will fall in line. They are not brave. The only reason they're doing this is because they've seen that they can get away with it. They've seen time and time again, every Pride Month, they come out with this shit, this disgusting, degenerate garbage, this kink fetish bullshit, and they're allowed to get away with it. But this time, people have said, enough. No, you're not getting away with it. We're not stopping the boycott. We are doubling down on this, and we are going to make sure that you pay for this. Your incompetent response is also going to make things that much worse. So by the time that they do eventually come around, the penance is going to be much greater than if they had just apologized. And by the way, I understand I'm using words like penance and things like that. Unlike Whoopi Goldberg from The View, I'm not actually talking about a physical, violent penance. I'm talking about losing money, losing reputation. I'm talking about the penance that comes from your actions, and you are going to have to suffer the consequence of that. That's what I'm talking about.
I think Yingling might even be in Bev. I'm not sure, which is like the same leftist activist and the corporate artist to protest Bud Light's partnership with transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney. I can't help it. Is Dylan Mulvaney an activist or an influencer?
I don't give
He
a
says,
shit,
you ain't
Dylan.
got hair on your ass if you don't shotgut that some I'm not going to say it. We'll keep it family friendly. Gilbert is notoriously conservative, having worn pro-Trump merchandise. Like, someone's going to look at you and they're like, what are you doing? Don't buy that stuff. And they're going to go to the bars and be like, what are you doing? Don't sell that stuff. We were in Austin, Texas. I think they have some
Tim's right.
Sailed statement, faux apology of sorts, not a real apology. Every single person, mind you. But I can show you this Vox article, which is absolutely hilarious. Trans influencer, they say. And they say it very simply. They were upset because Mulvaney is transgender. What a lie. Dylan Mulvaney is not transgender. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to come out and say it. Actually, I've said it like 18 times. For those of you that are new to this story and are wondering what exactly is going on and why people are mad, well, it's partially that Dylan Mulvaney is transgender, for sure. I'm not going to act. That's Dylan Mulvaney. Ron DeSantis has joined the fray. DeSantis says Anheuser Busch is too woke and has lost him as a customer. Why would you want to drink Bud Light? Oh, man. Florida Governor DeSantis encouraged people to continue boycotting Bud Light amid their promotion of trans personality Dylan Mulvaney. Again, I don't think Dylan Mulvaney is trans. I think Dylan Mulvaney, they should write.
Tim, this is a technicality that you're not going to win. Dylan Mulvaney says they're trans. They're trans.
Promotion of narcissistic sociopath. I said
they can be a narcissistic sociopath and be trans. I think that they're trans. I think it makes no benefit to differentiate between the two.
Conservative consumers hold power to keep the company accountable. He also revealed his preferred alternative beer. During an interview Monday with political commentator Benny Johnson, DeSantis said he would not be drinking Bud Light anymore, as he did not wish to help enable woke companies and their goals of trying to change our country, trying to change policy, and trying to change the culture. He said, why would you want to drink Bud Light? I mean, honestly, that's like them rubbing our faces in it. And it's like these companies that do this, they never have any response. They're just going to keep doing it. I mean, that's a really good point. You know what's particularly offensive about this is that when people said, hey, look, we are mad you did this, Bud Light said, F you.
Yeah, that's right.
They said nothing. They said literally.
You just said they said F you. And then they said nothing. No, they did say something. I had to correct the quoting on this. They did very quickly come out and make a statement. I don't know why people gloss over this. I think it's important to point that out. They did make a statement. And what was their statement? Well, you know, we didn't fire our marketing team. It was a weak, lily-livered, piss-poor response. Absolutely atrocious. And I think it's worth mentioning because that was their first reaction. To basically pretend that it didn't exist and at the same time double down, which is kind of interesting.
Nothing. They spat in the face of their customers and then said, we're going to ignore you because we think you'll go away.
They didn't just ignore.
PR 101.
It's worse than that.
PR companies say to all brands, if faced with a controversy, do not engage.
No. If anyone is telling you, do not engage, on something this serious, you should fire them immediately. You do engage. You respond very quickly, very forcefully, with 3 things. Not 1 of 3 things, not 2 of 3 things, but 3 of 3 things. 1, an admission of what you did. 2, that what you did was wrong, and an apology, a sincere one. And 3, resolution. Resolution means we have terminated the employee responsible, and going forward, all employees will be made to undergo mandatory customer appreciation recertification, and we will make sure that our employees know that our brand does not support transgenders and other disgusting degenerate perverts that go after kids. Yeah, how about that?
Let it fizzle out. I got to tell you, I see on Friday they finally put a statement out. 2 weeks. They were freaking out because this thing persisted over the holiday weekend. That's not supposed to happen. It was supposed to go away. Our PR company told us if we did this, it'd be fine. You should have just apologized.
Yep.
Now, they put a statement out on Friday. Weekend happens. I wake up first thing Monday, and I'm like, hey, everybody, let's talk about Budweiser. You've ever done.
See, what else did Ron say?
Suggested conservatives do not have to sit on the sidelines on the issue, but they have the power to hit the buddy. Let's talk about Budweiser. Ron DeSantis wants to talk about Budweiser.
Yeah, good.
And Bud Light, sorry, but whatever, Anheuser Busch. The Republican governor suggested conservatives do not have to sit on the sidelines on the issue, but they have the power to hit the company where it hurts their bottom line. So if you as a consumer are like, yeah, they're doing that, but I'm just going to keep drinking it anyways, well, then they're going to keep doing it. So I think we have power as consumers to make our voice heard, and not on every company, because sometimes conservative consumers aren't going to make a dent in some companies. Well, I want to tell you something. While you may be boycotting this, there are a bunch of distributors who say they agree. Recently, we had him, he called into the show to talk about the charges against his dad and other stuff. But he's wrong on that. As payback for trying to strip his powers, Florida governor ramps up Reedy Creek war and refuses to let corporate kingdom serve as its own government. I'm not going to get into all that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all that either. So I want to, actually, ironically enough, I'm going to click on the quarterings video because I want to talk about the fact that Bud Light is getting sued. That's right.
What's on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and things are getting pretty spicy as this story just will not go away. In fact, many feel like it's picking up more steam as on Main Street.
See, that's the thing. I've done a lot of videos on this, but it is actually picking up momentum. They're being sued, by the way. So not only are they down per case, not only is their company losing money, not only are they suffering in terms of reputation, but to add the cherry on top of the shit sundae, they are now being sued by a former Donald Trump advisor because, well, their hiring practice is anti-white and they are being sued over racism. Wow, this is an amazing turn of events. All of these bad things happening all at once because you decided that you were going to support this trans activist. Yes, Tim, a trans activist who is a narcissistic piece of garbage.
People are talking. They're talking a lot more about exactly what kind of companies they want to support. Companies that, whether or not they actually want to give a company cash if...
Get to the meat.
So I wanted to thank everyone. 33% off.
No.
From a different location.
No.
But now I'm just going to ultra because it's
oh my God.
from the Bud Light facing back after the
see what you did.
program.
See what you did, Jeremy, with your shitty fucking
I just
brand.
know you'll love it if you're like a
Goddamn.
hardcore coffee head.
Anyway.
So sign up. Hopefully there's some spots left by the time you see that. Yeah,
God damn,
what coolest program.
Jeremy, for the love of God, brevity is the soul of wit. We are now almost 3 minutes into a 12-minute video. Get to it, boy.
Former Bud Light drinkers say too little, too late.
God damn.
After the brand tries to make an amends with pro-American ad. People in Nashville weighed in on the Bud Light, facing backlash for partnering with, of course, Dylan Mulvaney. I'm a Bud Light drinker, quote, and I don't drink it anymore as a result. One man, Rick, told Fox News, I don't think I'll go back, not for a long time. But Trudy said the anger toward the brand was very overblown. That's not a reason not to drink a beer, she said. Well, I suppose it is fair to say that taste kind of matters, that you should be if you're going to consume a product.
No one's drinking Bud Light for the taste. They're not drinking Bud Light for the taste. They're drinking Bud Light because it's fucking cheap. It's not the cheapest thing out there, but right now I could go to my local store and buy a 30-pack for $18. It's on sale right now, $18 for a 30-pack. It's pretty cheap. So, I mean, you know, are there cheaper beers out there? Yeah, but you're talking about, you know, a little over, you know, 50 cents a can. Okay, maybe more than a little bit over, but you get my point. So, you know, we're not talking a huge amount of money here. Now, of course, there are slightly cheaper ones, but it's like for the taste and for what you're getting, it used to be that it's a cheap beer. It's got an okay taste. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Bud Light personally. I don't like the taste. But some people do. And so, yeah, it was the whole package. But now, people are like, well, I can go buy a Coors Light. And guess what? At my local supermarket, a Coors Light, a 30-pack, is $18. So, hey, they're like, well, you know, I don't feel like a Coors. A 30-pack of Miller Lite is $18. So, the point is that people can get beer at an affordable price. And so, this is the easiest boycott in history. Because you just go in and buy another beer.
I think that taste matters. And that, that should drive your decision. That's why, like, you know, not to throw any shade, but there's been like some people are like, oh, buy now like my super conservative ultra right wing beer now. It's like, no, you should be telling people buy my product because you're gonna like it, and that we actually care about our customers. I care about my customers. I don't care about their politics. That's who the kind of companies that.
Not to mention that a lot of those people are fucking scammers. I mean, criminy. I did a video on this. The guy who runs that beer company, I made him absolutely melt down.
This mountain has.
I made him absolutely melt down on Twitter, and we're gonna have some actually beer. This guy on Twitter, and this is great. I said I just did a video on this. Instead of creating a legit competitive beer to Bud Light, greedy and lazy conservatives create overpriced gimmicks that the everyman can't afford. $45 for a 6-pack of beer with shipping, what a joke. Now, I didn't expect this guy to respond, but he did. He says, hey, fan advocacy, Venmo me $5 million and we can make a huge batch and cut costs in half. Only in half? Only in half? So, $10 for a 6-pack plus the $20 shipping? Ooh. I'll let you know when the money hits and immediately cut the price in half. Also, if you want to make an additional donation to cover the cost of shipping, that's UPS price, not mine, let me know. So I know for a fact this guy, well, I shouldn't say I know for a fact. I highly suspect that this guy is padding his shipping numbers based on what they're charging. Because I know for a fact that you could do FedEx 2-day in packs and have a nice little, 6-pack, presented in a, side-by-side format and save on shipping. Expensive, but they're with all the money. Listen here, you grifting a competitive brand of Bud Light. But listen to the way this guy talks. He wants me to do all the fucking work and pay all the money. Didn't you crowdfund so that I can? This guy wants food bourbon. Yeah, so really triggered he is. Run your company at a loss. I know it's not ideal, but 6-pack. Where is egregious? So here's how this guy responds, and you can tell he's triggered. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have responded. I didn't realize you were mentally handicapped. Now keep in mind, this is the guy that's running the beer company that Jeremy was talking about. This is that guy. So understand that not only is this guy not serious, he's a piece of garbage. He's a scam artist. They got triggered because I called out his fucking grift.
I want to give my money to, and that's what the core tenet is for me. So to be fair, she's right. But that said, with like I don't know what you would call it, like general beers, like large scale beers. I think they're basically like, a consumable good to people. It's you use a brand of TP or flour or whatever, but you're not married to it. And if they do other types of things like this that kind of push you over the edge, that push things too far, I think it's totally reasonable to say, you know what, I'll just drink a different, regular old beer. A barbecue said, or YouTuber can agree. You should be offering value and quality and where you are in life.
We got so much stuff to go over still.
Had another some new trouble. Bud Light's parent company engages in racist hiring practices. Federal complaint alleges. The company has witnessed considerable backlash after we already know Anheuser Busch created a leadership accelerator program that provides formal mentorship, executive interaction, and leadership development curriculum for those who identify with historically underrepresented groups as they join the organization in a full-time capacity. So if you're white, this is like, let me just put it this way. If you're white and straight, you don't get any help at the company. The company encouraged Black, Latinx, that's not a thing, Latinos, and Native American applicants while omitting an invitation to white and Asians. According to America First Legal, Budweiser, another brand controlled by Anheuser-Busch, established a, quote, unlawful race-based scholarship and internship program with the United Negro College Fund to support 25 Black students who are interested in the food sciences industry. Again, I don't have any problem with people doing this stuff inherently. You want to support the United Negro College Fund? Do that. But I feel like as a company, then you should try to keep it evil. Whoops. Keep it even. So you want to make sure you make an impact in the black neighborhoods with black teens. I think that's cool. But you shouldn't be omitting. You should be excluding other people based on their race. It's just racism. A lot of people used to use the terminology reverse racism. It's just racism. You're saying somebody is deserving of something or undeserving of something based on the color of their skin and not based on any of their merits. The company encouraged, also while white applicants, while omitting invitations to white and Asian applicants, according to America First. We saw that. The company's most recent annual report likewise also noted diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives to include efforts to increase overall representation of women in top leadership positions. How's that working out in their marketing department? America First Legal.
I was going to say that. We want women in our top upper echelon positions. Do not recommend not optimal. Every time a woman is put into a leadership position, she absolutely bungles it. She absolutely messes it up. And I'm not just being rude, like, oh, she makes a little bit of a mistake. No, look at that loudmouth bimbo that was put as the VP of Bud Light. Look at her mentality and what she did. I mean, just this 304 with this loudmouth, this fraternity bimbo, being given this position drives the company into the fucking ground. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy. No, you know what? Star Wars needs to be more female-centric. I want it to be more like me. It's just like, no, you cannot put women in these leadership positions. Women are great at a lot of different things. But putting them in charge is a universally bad idea. Trust me on this. There's a reason why society since the beginning of time have not been matriarchal. They know, they understand this. It is a fact. You do not want to put women in charge of a country, of a business, of a courtroom. Just like, there are certain exceptions, certain examples, but I think that if you're being honest, if you're being genuine, which I think is the best way to be, and you're not looking to simp, you're not looking, just to be seen as a white knight to get laid. If you're being truly, genuinely honest, then I think you can admit that putting women in leadership positions is just not a great idea. No. Susan Wojcicki of YouTube. It's just like, you hear about all these women directors on these films that star women, and they turn out, to be garbage. I mean, there are a couple exceptions to that, but it's like, I think, wasn't Captain Marvel's director a woman? I mean, it speaks for itself.
Calls the efforts discriminatory, and that the definition of a woman held up by Anheuser-Busch is likely not limited to biological females because of the firm's partnership with Mulvaney, who chronicled his supposed gender transition on TikTok. Quote, iconic American brands like Anheuser-Busch have become shells of their founders' visions due to the weak-kneed corporate leadership who routinely cave to ideologues whose thirst for an ever-changing notion of social justice is relentless. America First legal vice president and general counsel Gene Hamilton said in a statement, all racial discrimination is wrong, and race-based employment programs or opportunities are antithetical to the American ideal. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Equity under the law will never be achieved in the United States if its largest corporations are permitted to engage in blatant discrimination against certain groups of citizens. I agree 1,000% with this. We see this kind of stuff going on all the time. Like, oh, well, historically, this group or that group isn't represented enough, or whatever the case is, right? The problem is that you may be looking at a group, but the individuals that you're uplifting may not have earned that right. And everyone should have to be competing on a level playing field. I thought that's what getting rid of racism was about. And on top of this, by the way, of course, Ron DeSantis weighs in about things, saying, DeSantis team on Monday released a video titled "Real Men of Women's Sports," talking about making fun of Budweiser again.
So yeah, Jeremy's point is valid. We're going to Whoopi Goldberg, Bud Light. Yeah. All right. We'll go back to Tim. He appears to be on the cutting edge.
All right, let's jump into this first story from Yahoo News. Whoopi Goldberg to Anheuser-Busch on conservative backlash. Don't let them scare you. Let us scare you. Oh, boy. I love Whoopi Goldberg and The View just overtly threatening terror against their political opponents. Okay, I'm being a bit hyperbolic on in that regard. Here we go.
Not really.
Whoopi Goldberg and her co-host on ABC's The View weighed in today on the recent Budweiser controversies, reminding the beer maker that as As the show's Anna Navarro said, members of the LGBT community are Americans too.
Barely. Most of them that I've seen online are fucking commies. Far left, psychopathic commies that are obsessed with touching and grooming kids. So, I mean, yeah, technically, they are Americans, but not really. They don't believe in the values of this country. They don't believe in the rule of law. They don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in any of that. They are authoritarians. They celebrate when people get arrested for illegitimate reasons. You can say that they're Americans because, they're an American citizen, but they do not have in their heart America's values. Many of them believe in fascism, authoritarianism. They believe in all of the things that are antithetical to the United States and America.
The conversation follows conservative backlash and calls for boycott over their partnership with Dylan Mulvaney. Goldberg beginning the hot topic debate by noting that Budweiser was her beer of choice before she quit drinking. Before she quit.
I don't believe that for a second.
Asked what conservatives are so angry about. Beer is not a Democrat or Republican. It doesn't have a belief system. It's just beer. Well, I'll tell you. It's because Dylan Mulvaney is the embodiment of what I call ElsaGate 2.0, the algorithmic manipulation resulting in chaotic nonsense content. And then Bud Light was like, I got an idea. Let's fund more of this decay and promote booze to children. And so I'm just like, bro, everything about what you're doing is a bad thing. But here's the best part. The VP of marketing for Budweiser admitted their goal was to market alcohol to kids.
Yep.
She was like, it's an old dying brand and we got to get young people. Like, oh, is that what you're saying? Because Dylan Mulvaney's audience are like 15 years old. You can just Google it. The average user of TikTok is under 21. That's all that matters. And then obviously Dylan Mulvaney's audience is not a bunch of 50-year-old dudes. It's a bunch of 15-year-old kids. That's why I'm mildly perturbed. I don't know about you guys.
It blows my mind that Dylan Mulvaney has an audience of teens.
Like Dylan Mulvaney put this content. They explicitly said they were protecting this community and not other communities. So
all right, so I'm going to stop it there. You can go watch the full video if you want. But yeah, Whoopi Goldberg, I mean, it breaks my heart. Watching a lot of these celebrities breaks my heart because I was a huge fan of her growing up when she was Guinan on Star Trek. I thought she was the coolest. It's like I always watch Guinan and I'm like, God, she's such a wise and interesting character. And then to see what Whoopi Goldberg has devolved into, it just, and again with the nappy, disgusting dreads and just the whole attitude, it just everything about her has been just such a disappointment. Don't let them scare you. Let us scare you. You making that statement is different from like me or a conservative making that statement because you, Whoopi, are on the left, and the left has engaged in terrorism, killing, looting, burning. The left has engaged in all manner of terrorism, degeneracy, and all forms of just crime. So, yeah, it is dangerous when you say that. It's not the same as, somebody like me saying it. Like, don't be scared of the left, be scared of Republicans. Although I wouldn't phrase it that way because that's an idiotic, that's a simplistic and idiotic way to phrase it. As I would expect from, somebody from The View. But Whoopi Goldberg is a clueless old harpy. She is a bitter, deranged old bat. And unfortunately, she no longer commands the respect of just about anyone. She's a laughingstock. She says racist shit all the time. It's incredibly disappointing. Yeah, it's sad to watch. But yeah, that's what I wanted to cover. The story is ongoing. It continues to evolve. It continues to change. But the bottom line is we are winning. And all it takes All it takes from you is to buy a different beer. You don't have to go protest. You don't have to make terroristic threats like Whoopi Goldberg. All you have to do is go out there and buy a different beer. And in that vein, I'm going to promote my Rumble yet again. Many of you have come over. Many of you still have yet to do so. I hope today's the day that I will have earned your follow on here. Because here's the thing. This is a rocket ship. This number was 6. This number was 6 the other day. We're up to 27. 3 away from 30. We're building something here, and I want you to be part of it. I want this to be a rocket ship to the fucking moon. And I want you right alongside as I get to 100, 1,000. We're going to keep growing this. It's going to keep expanding. And I can't do it without you. So, doesn't cost a dime. I'm not asking for your money. I would appreciate it, just a little bit of your time to go over to Rumble and help me build this up. YouTube is, from my point of view, a lost cause at this point, but we can still do something with Rumble. Anyway, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.